What if I told you that one of the most powerful men in technology today did not grow up confident? What if I told you that the man leading the AI revolution was once a child living with uncertainty, pressure, and fear? And what if I told you that NVIDIA was not built on confidence, but on conditioning? Most people search for Jensen Huang NVIDIA CEO to understand AI, GPUs, or the future of technology. But almost nobody asks the real question. What kind of child becomes a man who can bet billions on technology before the world understands it? Because before Jensen, Huang built machines that think. He was raised by parents who trained his mind to survive pressure. And not only parents, many other forces shaped him along the way. This is not just a story about parenting. This is not just a tech story. This is the story of how childhood creates mindset, how mindset and influencing survive struggle, and how struggle builds world-changing companies. And before we go further, there is something important to understand. Jensen Huang's success is not a one-man story. No billionaire is built in isolation. Behind every world-changing leader are people, environments, failures, and influences that quietly shape the outcome. Jensen Huang is no exception. What makes his story powerful is not just who he became, but how many forces shaped him along the way. Stay till the end, because this story connects parenting, psychology, business, and technology in a way most people never see. Jensen Huang grew up in an immigrant household, and immigrant households follow one brutal rule. You don't prepare children for comfort. You prepare them for reality. His parents made a decision that most parents never have to make. They sent their child to the United States at a young age for the sake of education and opportunity. This was not comfort, this was sacrifice. He grew up learning discipline over indulgence, humility over entitlement, effort over excuses. He worked menial jobs early in life, not because it was glamorous, but because responsibility was normal. That experience did something permanent to his mindset. It taught him no job is beneath you, no struggle is wasted. Jensen Huang has openly said that early hardship trained him to handle pressure later as a CEO. This is the first major parenting lesson. Parents don't need to remove hardship. They need to frame it correctly. His parents did not know Silicon Valley. They did not know venture capital. They did not know AI, but they understood survival. From a young age, Jensen learned. Life is competitive, effort is mandatory, excuses are expensive. This environment did something critical. It trained him to function under pressure. That ability later became his greatest weapon in tech. Jensen was not shielded from difficulty. If something went wrong, there was no emotional drama, no blame games, no identity crisis. Failure was treated as feedback. This created a mindset most people never develop. If something breaks, fix it. If it fails, learn. If it hurts, endure. This mindset is visible decades later when NVIDIA nearly collapsed multiple times. Yes, at one point, NVIDIA was 30 days from bankruptcy, multiple product failures. Market pressure, investor doubt, this is where most leaders break. But Jensen Huang didn't panic. Why? Because his childhood had already trained him for this moment. From these failures, he learned radical accountability, long-term vision over short-term comfort, relentless learning under pressure. He later summarized it simply: greatness comes from pain and perseverance. This line isn't motivational fluff, it's lived experience. School was not about grades alone. It was about problem solving. Jensen learned early. Memorization is weak, understanding is power. This shaped his engineering mindset. Later, when GPUs were seen as just gaming hardware, he saw them differently. He didn't see products, he saw systems. At Oregon State University, Jensen Huang wasn't trained to chase grades. He was trained to solve real problems. His professors emphasized, Practical engineering, systems thinking, execution over theory. This approach later became a core pillar of NVIDIA's culture. Not innovation for headlines, innovation that works. At Stanford, everything expanded. This is where Jensen was exposed to Silicon Valley's innovation mindset, long-term thinking, big, system-level problems. Here, mentors and peers pushed him to stop asking, "What can I build?" and start asking, "What systems can I change?" This shift is crucial for tech lovers watching this video, because NVIDIA wasn't built on products. It was built on platform thinking. Before NVIDIA, Jensen worked in environments where he was not the smartest in the room, he was not the leader, he was often underestimated. Instead of resenting this, his upbringing trained him to observe quietly. This is a key lesson. Loud confidence is often fragile. Silent competence compounds. Jensen Huang worked at companies like LSI Logic, AMD. These roles taught him a brutal truth. Great ideas fail without execution. He saw brilliant engineers lose to poor discipline, strong technology collapse. Due to weak leadership, companies die not from lack of ideas, but from lack of focus. This shaped his future leadership style. Vision plus execution or nothing. When NVIDIA started, it wasn't powerful. It wasn't respected. It was fragile. But NVIDIA was not built alone. Jensen Huang co-founded the company with Chris Malachowski, Curtis Preem. They brought deep technical expertise, engineering credibility, shared risk during NVIDIA's darkest years. During times when NVIDIA was close to collapse, this partnership mattered. And Jensen's mindset during this period, if we fail learning everything. That mindset comes directly from childhood conditioning. Most founders panic. He calculated. In spite the tech world doubted GPUs, investors doubted focus, markets doubted timing. Together, they built an engineering-first culture, a company where technical truth mattered more than ego. This is a powerful reminder: billionaires don't win alone. They build teams that survive pressure. NVIDIA nearly died multiple times: bad chips, bad launches, market pressure. Employees feared collapse. What did Jensen do? He stayed calm. Why? Because emotional regulation was trained in childhood. Parents who don't overreact raise leaders who don't panic. Here's where tech lovers should pay attention. When others saw GPUs for graphics, Jensen saw parallel computing. When others saw AI as academic, he saw inevitability. Why? Because long-term thinking was trained early. Short-term safety never controlled him. He could wait. He could endure losses. He could invest early. Silicon Valley didn't protect NVIDIA. It tested it. Competition with Intel, AMD. Later, big tech giants forced NVIDIA to constantly reinvent itself. Access to top engineers, ruthless competition. High expectations meant Jensen could never relax. This environment rewarded long-term bets, deep thinking, unpopular decisions, which brings us to the most important factor. Even with parents, mentors, partners, and ecosystem, none of it works without the right mindset. Jensen Huang's mindset was defined by extreme ownership, obsession with learning, long-term vision, willingness to look foolish early to be right later. This is why he bet on GPUs for AI years before the world understood it. He wasn't chasing validation. He was chasing truth. During AI winters, people laughed, investors doubted, markets ignored. Jensen's mindset: if this takes 10 years, we'll wait. That patience is not learned in adulthood. It is installed in childhood. Jensen doesn't lead with ego. He leads with curiosity, discipline, respect for systems. This leadership style reflects upbringing where ego was irrelevant, results mattered, respect was earned. As NVIDIA grew, influence followed, but influence didn't change him. Because identity was already solid. Parents who don't inflate ego raise adults who handle power safely. So what raised Jensen Huang? Not money, not luck, not genius, but pressure without trauma, discipline without cruelty, expectations without excuses, combined with lifelong struggle, tech curiosity, long-term vision. So Jensen Huang is the result of parental sacrifice, strong mentors, early failures, great partners, relentless self-discipline. This is how billionaires are raised, not in comfort, not in isolation, but through pressure, learning, and long-term vision. If you want more stories that connect parenting, mindset, struggle, and technology, subscribe, like and share, and press the bell icon for next video notification, because here, we don't just talk about success, we decode how it is built.